thought I'd find the time to get a video done. I'm going to look at 5 charts now, and if I've got the time I'll do another 5 charts after this, but we'll see how we go. Alright, so I'm going to mention a few that were either brought up on the price and volume scans tonight or have been mentioned in our live chat today. First one is AZG. This is the 12 months daily that you can see here. What can we see? Obviously broke this downtrend here back in November. Can draw a nice uptrend here since then. A couple of key resistance levels, broke the 16 back in February. I think you'll find that's the annual report, the quarterly there in end of January, and there's the half yearly report in February. So that quarterly at the end of January looks to have really kicked off the volume there. A little bit of volume again on the half yearly, caused this spike to 21, and that's what we wanted to see break. And as you can see, it's been really stiff res from way back here in August. Stiff res there, and only today has it broken. There's still some really persistent selling around these levels, and we've noticed that over the last month or so. I've held a few of these for a little while. It's one of my few longer term plays, but massive volume today, almost 6 million, and a break and a hold above that 21.5, so that's quite interesting. Fundamentally, and I know it's a dirty word in here and not something I really look at, but the fundamentalists do consider it a strong stock, so that may also give it a little bit more upside. You look at that chart, the obvious key res there is the 27.5, so that's what we'd be looking for. You could probably throw some fibs on there. I'm not sure it'll really make a huge difference because we're probably already bounced up to around them. As you can see, the 50 looked like it provided pretty good support there. 62 are actually around there now while we were breaking, so it looks to have respected some of these fibs quite well. But now it's through there, I would hope to see this pop up towards this top res here. So that's a fairly simple one. That's AZG. Next we'll have a look at another A. This is ATI. Had news this morning, funding and project updates. So as you can see, a nice little or big green candle really on really good volume. But look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of quite strong volume. Had a rating review back there. Little bit of presentations, a bit of news there as well. So there's been quite a bit of news starting to come through towards the bottom. Terrible downtrend, as you can see. I don't know what the weekly 5-year looks like. So it was a bit of a darling there for a while, up until the middle of 2011. I don't really know the background of this company, so I don't know what caused this dip. But obviously the news that came out today was enough to turn it around. Whether it's shorters covering or what, I'm not sure. So we'll go back to that daily. Little bit of res here, I suppose. I mean, it's broken that downtrend there. It certainly hasn't broken this one yet. But you'd probably look at this as next res, which is around the 61 mark. It hit 59.5 today. But definitely that volume would suggest that there's some sort of significant bottom there. Again, this would probably be a good one to put the fibs on, just to get a few ideas of targets. If you wanted to play short term, you might want to just run the fibs from there to there, get some short term ideas. 65 looks like the first one, 70 the 50, which kind of picks up that previous support, which could turn into resistance. So that's probably a target I might be looking at. I did get a little bit of that on the news, and in mentioning that, I might go to the intraday chart, which is there. Okay, so that's the intraday chart. Bit hard to take a new high news play with this one because it didn't really dip on that initial run. I think I mentioned it in the HipChat window around about the 50 mark. I'd be making up if I told you exactly where I got in. I got in fairly early in the morning. I think it opened at 47. Opened at 46, sorry. Dipped back to 46 and then started to break, and I think it was fairly early here that I got a very small position, added a little on the way up, then I think I added on the swing. Maybe that's what we can look at with fibs as well here, is this intraday swing, whether it would have picked up a potential area to look for a bounce. So with the fibs. We'll run it from top to the bottom in that morning range. Look at that. If you did run the fibs on that to look for a bit of an idea where you might get a bounce, the 50 pretty well picked it up. As in any technical analysis, none of it's an exact science. I never look at the exact numbers on charts because I think it's all just ballpark stuff. As you can see, 50 would have at least given us a bit of an idea to keep an eye out for it for that bounce. Obviously, being in a sideways range for the rest of the day, would like to see it break that 60 high to kick on. My stop now for what I've got left, and I did sell some during this period, would probably be a break of this support here around the 56.5. So break that, short term I'd probably be out of there. It's not something I wanted to keep forever, so that would be my exit. Okay, let's have a look at another one. Alright, we'll look at MAD. Sorry, had a little mental blank there. Alright, let's go to the end of day chart first. That's the end of day on MAD. Obviously very strong with big volume here since early 2012. Nice uptrend, nice little dip there. Up again and a nice little dip again. Now maybe if we go to an hourly there, we can have a look at those dips. Again, you could throw some fibs on that. This is all hindsight stuff, but you could run the fibs from there, maybe back to that previous support. And it's picked up a fib level relatively well, which also picks up this previous resistance turning into support, which is something I look for a lot as well. Previous resistance becoming support next time around. Bit of a double bottom there as well, and then the bounce. You'd want to see a bit of volume on that bounce. A little bit of volume kicked in today. It's dribbled off towards the end of the day, so certainly would want to see it break here. That'd be my next entry point, would be a 98, or might even go back to this point here, which is probably 98.5, something like that. Or if you wanted to be really safe, you could go up to that dollar break, but chart's certainly looking like it's half a chance to tackle those highs again. Alright, I'll quickly just do a couple of shorts, seeing the markets are looking a little weak overseas. First one's CAB. Good strong run there since mid-Feb. 470 up to $6. Looks like a bit of consolidation here, 3 or 4 or 5 bars here that really have gone nowhere, possibly a little triangle forming. We could go to the hourly chart, see if that shows us anything. There's that obvious consolidation here. So since last Thursday, pretty much a week of sideways action. So that's starting for me to look like a low risk entry for a short if the markets do look like rolling, because you've got some obvious support resistance there to get out of if it breaks. So you're only risking possibly only 5 or 10 cents depending on where you get in. And again, to give yourself some potential targets, let's throw those fibs on there. So we run the fibs from that one down to, I'd probably skip that tail, it looks like it could be noise, maybe just go to there. There's some potential targets. Now obviously that's the 62, which it's already bounced off. That would be a first, and possibly even, that's a fairly conservative entry for the short. I'd want to probably get in here a little earlier, maybe even take it towards the top of this range if I'm confident that the res will hold, and then I've got a much smaller risk and a much bigger reward. So but a quick look at that, I'd be looking at that 50, which also picks up these previous resistance levels to possibly become support. So anywhere between 575 80 might be a potential target for that one. And one more, I've already gone 9 minutes. I was going to try and keep this to 5, so it just goes to show I talk too much. NWH. Alright, here's the end of day. And again, another one that ran very hard since middle of January. Engineering sector, which has gone gangbusters. Had one great little dump there. I think you'll know from HipChap I actually shorted it there. Covered that dump really well, but didn't go long, unfortunately. Very similar to CAB, 3 or 4 days here of sideways. So we go to the hourly. There's that hourly action. This line here is a 5-day moving average. I think it's 5 actually. I should check. That is a 30 period. So yep, that's a 5-day moving average over the hourly chart. So that uptrend line is now broken. Looks like it might be putting in a lower high, and then maybe, so break, if I was aggressive, a break of this hourly bar here would get me in. I'm actually already in. I actually got some on this break here, so I'm still only about break even in it. And again, if you wanted to whack the fibs on to look for some targets, I'd be tempted to forget this spike in case it's, you know, noise. Run the fibs from there down. There's a few potential targets, and again the 62 or the 38 the other way pretty much picks up that previous resistance as well. So and a little bit of support there. So that might be a handy reference. There's also that almost gap there that might want to fill, but you'd think there's some decent risk reward there if the markets certainly do stay softer. Right, that's 10 minutes. That'll do for me now. I probably won't do another one tonight. I'll try and keep this up tomorrow night.